breaking news from KXAN News.
Let's get to that breaking news. Austin firefighters are on the scene of a house fire on Turnstone Drive. That's over near Pleasant Valley Road and East Stasny Lane. We have a photographer who is there giving you a live look at what APD is responding to. This is a propane fire. They say that happened around 3:30 this morning. Fire department said it started in the backyard at the home. Multiple callers reporting a house on fire.
And then once they got there, they realized that fire was spreading not just to the house, but also the house right next door. There was an urgent rush to get people out in both of those homes, and they did get out safely. Firefighters say no one is hurt. Crews ended up putting that fire out within minutes. We do have a reporter who's also just arriving right now, and we will expect updates on what happened throughout the morning.
Okay, and arson investigators are looking at a scene of a house fire in North Austin this morning.
Yeah, that fire also out as they're now trying to figure out what caused this. Austin Fire responding around 2 this morning. They sent us these photos to show them in work. This is on Caddo Street. It was around midnight when they got out there. No one was home at the time of the fire, and they also say no one else was hurt as a result of this. They are still checking for hot spots. You see all those firefighters gathered there. This, as Sally mentioned, in North Austin off I-35 and Breaker Lane around North Lamar area.
Also breaking news this morning, we know one person is dead after a fiery crash off of Littig Road.
Austin Travis County EMS says it got to that area around midnight. Texas Department of Public Safety confirming only one car was involved. This is near County Line Road and Highway 290 outside Elgin. Turning to your weather, and from the 80s yesterday to temperatures expecting to dip significantly today.
Here we go again. The city of Austin knows that it's going to be a cold night. They're activating the cold weather shelter today as temperatures could drop to the mid-30s well into Wednesday morning. They need to get the message across to as many people as they can. So the city's going to partner up with community groups who work with people living on the street. And that is the first activation after the city simplified its process.
The Austin EMS Association pushing for these changes. They include eliminating the complicated multi-tiered activation system. So instead, the cold weather shelter will simply activate when temperatures are expected to reach 35 degrees or colder overnight. The notification that the shelters are opening will also happen earlier instead of the day of. That was something that was previously a major concern for the EMS Association. And we will have a look at the rest of those changes if you want to go to our website, KXAN.com. Bottom line, it is about to get a lot colder here in Central Texas.
Yeah, starting this afternoon, I think you're going to notice a big difference, but certainly overnight with those near freezing temperatures expected even here in the city. Widespread temperatures this morning in the 40s. We do have some cloud cover. Cold front's already passed that thing as well to our south already, but the winds are going to be slow to pick up. There's a little bit of movement already on my palm frond there on the Whittlesey Landscape Supplies weather camera, but there is going to be a whole lot more movement with those winds coming into the later part of the morning and afternoon. Here's a look at those temperatures. As mentioned, 40s to start the day, but we're only looking at temperatures largely in the 50s and low 60s this afternoon. These winds going to pick up in speed as we get towards the later half of the afternoon. I expect those wind gusts to be anywhere from 25 to 35 miles per hour. We briefly touched 60 here in the city, but I'm expecting most of us to spend the majority of the day in the 50s. So coming up, a near widespread freeze tonight. I'll show you those numbers. Mild afternoons heading into midweek, and rain actually possible this weekend. Those details all coming up in your first warning forecast.
Looking forward to it. Okay, Kristen, thank you. So early voting for the Austin runoff election, that ends today. You could have a say in who helps to lead the Austin ISD.
Yeah, this comes after no one candidate secured more than 50% of the vote. The race for position 8 on the school board still up for grabs. The two remaining candidates are Fernando Lucas de Orioste and Lindsay Stringer. De Orioste spent the first decade of his career at AISD largely as a special education teacher. He is now the director of advocacy services for a Round Rock law firm. Works to resolve issues with school districts. He's also the vice president of the Texas Organization of Parents, Attorneys, and Advocates. We asked him about his top priorities should he be elected.
10 years of advocacy that I've been doing is all special education related, or by and large 95% special education. So certainly continuing those efforts in special education. Also coming up to the board as a family advocate. I'm very interested in kind of repairing and improving the relationships with the community and the families that directly interface with AISD.
The other candidate is Lindsay Stringer, and she's a lifelong Austinite and Austin High grad. She's been in public education her entire career, starting as a 5th grade teacher in the Baltimore public school area. Stringer is also an AISD parent and school volunteer, works for the National Math and Science Initiative, and we were talking to her about her priorities.
Increasing enrollment, our financial stability, improving student outcomes. We have wildly different outcomes for students depending on your racial background, your economic background, if you have special needs, and those have persisted for decades. And so I'm really concerned about that.
If you cannot vote early, Election Day is on December 14th. That's this coming Saturday. We have all the details on our website, KXAN.com.
Also on the runoff ballot for many, District 7 for Austin City Council, which represents North Austin. Those two candidates are Mike Siegel and Gary Bledsoe. Siegel receiving the highest number of votes during the general election. Should be noted, though, that neither secured more than that 50% of the vote to meet the threshold. Siegel is a city attorney and civil rights lawyer. Bledsoe is also a civil rights lawyer and head of the NAACP, I should say, here in Texas. While only District 7 residents will vote on this one, the person picked will make decisions for all Austinites on things like parks, public safety, and roads that are important to everyone. New York prosecutors charging a 26-year-old with murder following the death of a United Healthcare CEO. This is video of Luigi Mangione, the man they say killed Brian Thompson. Mangione, right there in handcuffs, arrived last night at a Pennsylvania courthouse for arraignment.
Pennsylvania Department of Corrections also releasing this booking photo. Investigators say the big break in this case came after an employee inside a Pennsylvania McDonald's recognized the 26-year-old from the photo that New York police released. Okay,
so this is an area he was arrested about 270 miles west of New York City, where Thompson died last week. And when police walked into the McDonald's yesterday, they say they found Mangione sitting at a table in the back, eating breakfast with his laptop and a backpack. The officer quickly recognized him. Investigators say he went into custody peacefully.
Police say once they took him back to the police station, they found several fake IDs. Also a gun and a silencer, both made from a 3D printer and a loaded magazine. There's also what authorities are calling a manifesto that provides clues to a motive. That arresting officer speaking on the update.
I can't say I was expecting it by any means, but it feels good to get a guy like that off the street, especially starting my career this way. It feels great.
Mangione is an Ivy League graduate from a prominent Maryland real estate family. He's being held in a state prison now, and he'll eventually be extradited back to New York.
Good morning to you. This is a live look over in Round Rock, thanks to our camera at the Whittlesey landscape. What a change in temperatures that you're going to see today. Kristen has the latest on that in just the next few minutes. But first, let's get to your news. We are getting an update on the team built to handle student demonstrations over at the University of Texas. 3 months have passed since UT created the Event Readiness and Response Team. And according to its website, it's dedicated to balancing free speech rights while upholding university policies. Previously, the Office of the Dean of Students took care of the protest response. But after student demonstrations that drew national attention earlier this year, the office reevaluated how it approached these types of gatherings. Now, students who are planning to protest are encouraged to give the Readiness and Response Team a heads up to receive guidance. But one student group opted to not partner with the unit, citing a lack of trust with university administration.
I don't think trust building will come from engaging and liaising with students. It needs to come from actually caring about what students are saying, caring about what students want, and taking the foot forward to make a difference.
UT officials told us that while partnering with the unit is optional following university rules and the law, That is not optional.
If you already know that you want to go to the Austin City Limits Music Festival next year without having to see the lineup, you can get your tickets soon. Pre-sale for the 2025 festival starts tomorrow. ACL is going to be back out at Zilker Park October 3rd through the 5th, then again the 10th through the 12th. Event organizers giving you a chance to snag some 3-day tickets at what they say is the lowest price before the show lineup drops in the spring. There are layaway plans also coming back. You'll have a chance to choose the general admission or the VIP passes. Tickets will drop at 10 Wednesday morning.
Hey, you know, and they really sell out really fast, even when you don't know who you're going to go see.
Yes.
True.
You know, they always do seem to do a good job of like bringing in talent and sort of having the foresight of like, this person's going to be really big. Like with Chapel Roan, like, I don't think I had heard of her 9 months before.
They didn't either. That's why they switch up the day she performed.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, and I know Lizzo was the same way when she came.
Yes.
She was kind of like on the medium stage, and they're like, whoa, we got to change this. But you're right. It's a hard thing to do, but I think they do a good job with variety, too, of bringing in something for everyone. Let me show you what's going on this morning. Radar nice and quiet across most of the state. Got some rain just off the coast, a little bit of snow up in the West Texas area. That white indicates radars up there seeing some snowflakes. Here at home, mainly to partly clear skies. Our current temperature 49 degrees in Austin. We pretty much have everybody in those 40s, if not some lower 50s. 50 in Georgetown, 49 here in the city with the 48-degree reading out in Llano. Same thing to our eastern Bastrop. Looking at our day planner today, it is going to be a much different day than the record warmth we had yesterday. Yesterday's high 84. Today's high 60. So we're running about 25 degrees cooler behind that cold front, and this is affecting everybody. Highs in the 50s and 60s no matter where you look. This actually puts us below normal for this time of year, but this will also be the coolest day of the next 7. It's not just the drop in temperatures, it's going to be those winds kicking up today, gusting anywhere from about 25 to 35 miles per hour, but even the sustained winds heading into the afternoon look to get up to about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So absolutely take that into consideration if you've got maybe some of the holiday inflatables in the yard, if your trash cans are out on the curb. We might want to bring all of that inside before we leave for work, because they're going to get knocked around pretty good this afternoon before those winds eventually lay down heading into the later part of tonight. That being said, once we get past the winds this afternoon, our focus turns to the near widespread freeze we expect tonight into tomorrow morning. Everybody will be close to 32. I don't expect everyone to actually hit 32, except if you're out in the hill country. Hill country, widespread freeze here. Close to here in the Austin Metro, some pockets below freezing in the eastern counties tomorrow morning. So make sure those sensitive plants come inside. Make sure the pets come inside as well. Looking at the stairs climb here of our temperatures, we've got 60s all the way through Thursday before we start talking milder temperatures Friday, but that's also going to mark the return of some rain chances. Nothing to worry about on Thursday, but come Friday, especially east of I-35, some light rain. I'm thinking Saturday with the approach of this cold front, a few more showers possible. We'll be in between fronts here as we get into Sunday, and then Monday with this second kind of reinforcing boundary, we'll up those rain chances again. Largely looking light as far as totals go at the end of the week and weekend with those rain chances, but it is going to be much milder than the rain we had this past weekend. Remember, Saturday it was rainy and cold. This is rainy and mild. And again, those rain chances are low, so not everybody's going to be looking at the rain. Windy with sunshine this afternoon, high of 60, 64 tomorrow, mid 60s Thursday. We'll jump up to the 70s by Friday. 10 to 20% chance of rain Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with those highs in the 70s. And once we get past tonight and tomorrow night, those morning temperatures get milder, I should say, in the 50s. Tom?
All right, thank you, Kristen. President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet nominees are continuing to meet with senators working to get confirmed in the new administration. Texas Senator John Cornyn says he's inclined to support Kash Patel for FBI director.
My goal would be to restore the nonpartisan functioning of the chief law enforcement agency in the country. Mr. Patel said he shares that goal.
Patel previously said he would shut down the FBI headquarters and go after political opponents. Embattled Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth also trying to secure votes. The former Fox News host and veteran faces allegations of personal and professional misconduct. Those are putting his confirmation in jeopardy. He met a second time with Iowa Republican Senator Joni Ernst. She has not said she's a yes vote for sure. Director of National Intelligence nominee Tulsi Gabbard also meeting with senators. Back here in Texas, the Department of Criminal Justice is behind on paying its employees overtime pay.
Yeah, one former employee telling us that they've been waiting for more than 6 months, hundreds of dollars that they say they were never paid.
My pay's been messed up several times, but this time I've been waiting since May.
That pay, almost $700 of overtime. The employee telling us, a TDCJ spokesperson says all standard paychecks, though, are being paid on time each month, but says there is a new time clock system that sometimes requires timesheets to be manually adjusted, leading to some delays in the additional pay.
The big question here, is this legal?
The short answer is this is not legal, but the challenge that these workers face is there are significant loopholes in Texas law that make it super hard to recover.
Kaplan says that employees would need to get the U.S. Department of Labor involved, which does not offer free legal services, but it would have to decide to take on the case, which takes time. The TDCJ says it is processing payroll for 31,000 employees all over the state, and that they are now looking into how many employees are still owed money and how much the agency owes them. Not clear, though, how long it's going to take them to pay all employees the money they're owed. But the agency says it is, quote, actively working to improve its timekeeping system, procedures, and employee training to minimize these issues and streamline the payroll process.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Dallas Cowboys trying to make it 3 in a row last night in Arlington against the Bengals. And this one, tough to take if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Cincinnati Bengals sitting at 4 wins. Cowboys sitting at 5. Cooper Rush, scoreless. Throw, catch, CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys take a 7-0 lead. And then Joe Burrow goes to work, and Burrow with the rocket throw to Jamar Chase. The game is tied at 7. This one's going to go back and forth. Cowboys up 10-7. And then it is Chase Brown. Gets the edge, somehow stays in bounds, and then does the unthinkable at AT&T Stadium. He jumps into the Salvation Army kettle. Cowboys down 7. Here comes Rush again. Brandon Cooks back of the end zone. Early in the third, game tied at 17. Then game tied at 20. Boy, this is tough. DeMarvion Overshown, the Longhorn, coming back from that knee injury, and he has to leave the game with a knee injury again. Here we go, 2020. Cowboys are going to get the ball with 2 minutes to go, and then Cal Vigil with the block. All the Cowboys have to do is get away from it, and they'll get it in Cincinnati territory. Instead of Monty Oruwariye just activated, touches the ball. That means the Bengals recover and get possession. That is brutal for the Cowboys because that gives Cincinnati the ball, and there is Chase again. One missed tackle, and then he's trying to decide, do I score or just down it and try to burn the clock? He goes ahead and scores. So the Cowboys have a minute and a second and 3 timeouts, but then they're down to 4th down, not quite at midfield, and Cooper Rush misfires, and this one will sting. Cowboys had a chance to get within a game of 500. Instead, they fall 27-20, so they now are 5-8 on the year. They have to run the table to have a winning record. All right, Longhorns, no work for a few days. They're going to get a break before they go to work on Clemson. They need a physical break. They've been taking a pounding the last few weeks, capped off by that SEC championship game, and also a mental break. The disappointment of losing the SEC title game and then having to regroup and know that they're one of 12 teams to play in that first ever playoff and still alive for a national championship.
We need to recharge. We need to, refresh our batteries. Our guys need a few days, and they need a few days to get themselves back physically, but also I think mentally. And not that we're in great spirits. And I think guys are all excited about the opportunity that we have in front of us. But they need a little bit of a break, because it's been 1 week after the next of high stress, high level stuff that's going on. And so we need to give them a chance to step away for a minute. And then so when they come back, they're really wired in and focused with the right intent and the right sense of urgency needed to go compete here next Saturday against Clemson.
It is awards week. Last night, Jahdae Barron, the Longhorn DB and Conley High product, was in Charlotte. He didn't win the Nagurski Award. He was one of 4 finalists for the Top Defensive Player of the Year award. That went to Kyle Kennard of South Carolina. Now he's on to the College Football Awards banquet, one of 3 finalists for the Thorpe Award. That goes to the top defensive back in college football. Back to you.
Live at a house fire in Austin. We are following that and the damage it caused to the next door neighbor too. Mercedes Hernandez, a live report in just a bit. If you're listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thanks for joining us. Hope you'll join us on air for this breaking news story. You can find all our stories on our website, KXAN.com.